All right, on TC2000, you've got your main window, right? And it says File, Tools, Help up in the upper left corner. Within this program, within this software, you can have a bunch of different charts. So, for example, if I hit charts right here, do you see how it's got all these different charts? Then I go to my charts, and then it's got all my hand built charts, right? And you can go to pre-built. This is theirs. But what I do is I have my charts, and I use them all for different reasons. So I have one that's the TTM squeeze one, and it is programmed to F2. So do you see how this is hit F2 right here? And so literally all I'll do is I'll hit F2 and it pulls up that chart. Okay? So let me show you how to create your own charts. If you want to just copy my exact replica and you want to have the TTM squeeze in there with the EMAs and all of that, what you'll need to do is I'll hit share. Then it'll create this link, okay? Now, if you click that link, it's going to bring you to a chart that says, hey, Donald Williams shared a chart with you. Do you want to get it? And you click the yes, get chart. So as soon as you get that, it's going to it's imported chart successfully. And if you go back to your TC2000, your share is up here in the upper right hand corner. Okay. And then you'll click that and it'll say view items shared to me. And then it'll show you, hey, PESX 2000, which is me, shared a chart at QQQ. So you click that and then it pulls up the chart. And so now that chart that I just shared should be right in the center of your screen. Okay. Now I'm gonna float it out in a new layout window so I can have it separate. So once you have this chart, what you want to do is you want to come over here and right click on this and hit save as indicator, right? And this momentum up is what you're clicking on. So if you click on momentum up and you hit save as indicator, just save it as TTM squeeze, whatever, right? TTM squeeze, TPS squeeze, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's going to save that indicator. And so then you can add that indicator to any chart. Now, if you want to save this exact chart with the same EMAs, right? I got the 34, got the 55, the 21, and the 8. If you want to save this exact chart, what you would do is you'd come over here and you'd right click and you would hit save chart as. And then name it whatever you want. TPS D-Man. Whatever. Right? So if I were to save this as TPS D-Man, well now it's in my charts builds. So again, if I go back to my charts and type in TPS, you can see it. There it is. D-Man. TPS D-Man. Right? And if I want quick access to this, I just hit this drop down key and F2. So whenever I hit F2 on my keyboard, I want that chart to pull up. Right? So now if I go back to my screen, and you'll notice this isn't that exact chart, right? I don't have the 55 on this chart. I don't have the TTM squeeze on this chart. So if I'm on this chart and I literally hit F2, all of a sudden it pulls up that chart, right? Now I've got the TTM squeeze. I've got the momentum, volume. So all of that is now here, right? And I just type in the ticker that I want to look at. There we go. Okay, any questions on this? What did I click on to save the indicator? It would be like this. Oops. Right here on momentum up, you right click on it. And then hit save as indicator and then just name it. Okay, so for charting, anytime you have for watch list, anytime you have a watch list up and you want to have certain column sets is what they're called, you simply come over here, you right click in the gray area, you put replace all column sets. If I just want just the TTM squeezes, I would just put in TTM squeezes. Boom, there they are. If I wanted this strat, I would just go in and I would select the strat. If I wanted both of them, then I would pick both of them. If I wanted the ADMA in it, right, then I would select the ADMA and say, hey, I want to see if the price is below the ADMA, and that's what gives me this green circle. So these are all things I've created just so I can have different watch lists, right? And so here, what I'll do is I'm going to put all these in chat and you can save them. So for recording purposes, I'm going to tweet all these out. This is strat, and then I'll pin them. And then you can just always come into my Twitter and they'll be right there. This is TPS with 8 EMA. And then we'll do the TPS without the 8 EMA. Oh, whoops, wrong one. There we go. Okay. And again, the TPS without 8 EMA. Whoops. Here we go. Post. Now if I go to profile, they should all be here, right? Yeah, that's my whatever it's called. Name, ticker, symbol, I don't know what it's called. They're all three right there. So TPS without the ADMA, TPS with the ADMA, and then the strat. Okay. So for the recording, you can just go there and they will be there. D-Man, how much code? Whoops, sorry, I just knocked over my microphone. How much code are you writing? Not a lot. I'm not that smart. A lot of times when I do have to write code, I actually have to write and help them. But one of the beautiful things about TC2000 is you can literally get it to write whatever you want. So you can scan for anything. If you wanted to scan for like something within stacked moving averages, a swing. Here, look. Let me pull this one up. New filtered watch list. So what this one does is it looks for price being within the top 15% of the candle. So if I'm looking to swing something overnight, right, and I want to find only companies that are finishing strong that are within the top 15% of their price action for the day, I can do that. And you can code pretty much anything you want in TC2000. That's why I love it. Okay. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to straighten out my screen. Okay. Any questions so far, guys, on any of this? Yes, Michael, it is. It's being recorded. Absolutely. So what this will do for you is, how do I say it? It's like if I put in, I want to look at an inside week, right? I want to look at an inside week. Here they all are. But then I want to say, hey, I want to look at the inside day. What that's going to do is it's going to put all the inside days first, but it will also keep your weeklies in order. So do you see how the first three, they're telling you that this is not only an inside day, but it's also an inside week. So if you were looking for an inside day and you wanted to look for a 195-minute squeeze, that's what you would do. You'd click them in that order. And so you can see there's no 195-minute squeezes that have an inside day. None. Does that make sense? And you can literally go down the things like, okay, let's look at weekly with daily, with 195, with 130. Is there any that match that? Well, yeah, there is. It's called AVGO. So AVGO must be consolidating pretty tight. Let's take a look at it. So you can see inside, 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 right? Inside day, inside 4 hour, inside 195. So anyway, that's what it's telling you. Okay. I think I've got all the column sets done. Now the other cool thing is, yeah, you can put in, there's a million different, they're called T200s or 2100s. So if you see this, you can put in the advanced decline. You can put in T2101. This is your absolute breadth. T2, and all of these, you remember this breadth that I was telling you guys about? This was one of the trainings that I did for you guys, T2103. This is one that I pay attention to. So there's a bunch of different, indicators that you can come in here or whatever you want to call these and say, hey, they're the T2100s, right? McClellan oscillator, stocks above the 200 day, NASDAQ advanced decline. You can just come in here and you kind of look through them and figure out which ones you like to look at or which ones you like to use. Okay, so Sylvia's question was, there's no plus sign. Well, do you see how there's no plus sign on this? Well, that's because I haven't gone all the way to the edge. I have to drag it out because my column set's so long. It's eventually going to get there. And you'll see it. But the problem, the reason you don't see a plus is because you don't have it dragged out far enough. Right? So you just have to take it and drag it out, and then it'll be there. And you'll be able to right click and hit save all columns as a group. Right? Okay. Okay, a couple other things that you can do here is you've got your main chart on your main TC2000 screen, whatever you want to call it, right? The one that says TC2000, version whatever above it. That's your main thing, right? You also have something called TC Mail, and we can mail each other and be like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" Or send a scan or send whatever. We can send stuff through the mail. And my TC2000 mail is PESX2000. That's what you saw when I hit the share column, right? So if we wanted to share something with each other, I could send it all to you, blah, 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 blah. You can save an entire workspace, all windows. And what that means is, okay, it's gonna be kind of crazy for you guys. I know it's gonna be overwhelming probably, but I'm gonna show you my whole screen. So when I switch to full screen, how many different windows do you guys see in from TC2000? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 just on this screen. Well, I don't want to create this layout every single time that I have to open up TC2000. So what I do is I literally create this setup and I hit save all workspace as, and that's again back in the main TC2000 things. I'll come in here and I'll hit save workspace as, boom, right? Now you guys want to see something cool? At least I think it's cool. Sometimes my kids are home. Sometimes I got to get my mind off trading. Sometimes my nephew's like, "Hey, dude, jump on Fortnite." Well, look right here. I've got Fortnite 2022 grid, right? So if I want to open that grid, right? Let's say I want to play some Fortnite. Well, I don't want all this open, right? I want a smaller window that has less eating up of the memory of my computer. So I click FN 2022. And then all of a sudden, you want to see what my full screen looks like now? Boom. Let's play some Fortnite. Let's go. It's Fortnite time, right? We can trade, we can play some Fortnite, we can goof around. But then it's like, all right, now I got to get serious. Sorry, guys, I got to go. I got to jump off Fortnite. It's time to open back up my main settings. And here we are. Okay, let me pause and catch up on chat. Let's say I want, instead of just having one window here, let's say I want to have another chart, and I want this chart to be over to my right. Well, the only thing you have to do is you can come in here, you can click move, and then it's going to say, hey, where do you want to move it, right? Start a new one or whatever. Or you can hit duplicate, and it's just going to pop one out for you. And then to move it to float in its own window, you hit float in new window. And so now I can move this one anywhere I want on my entire screen. And if I want to change it to the F2 chart, F2. If I want to change it to F1, F1, right? Whatever chart I want it to be, then I can resize it, I can draw it, I can do whatever I want with it to make it fit wherever I want on my screen. Right? And well, let's say I want another one attached to it. Let's say I want this one, or let's say I want a watch list next to it. So I come over here to my watch list, and it's like, hey, I want to put my watch list next to that as well. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to say move. Well, all of a sudden it gives you all these options, and I'm going to click this little tab button, and boom, now my watch list is a part of that other thing that I just floated out. Well, maybe I want the watch list to be separate. Same thing, just duplicate it, float it out, and now it's its own window. So now I don't need it in there anymore, and I can close that out. So now I've got one that's a chart, I've got one that's a watch list that's separate, and then I've got my main one, right? And so this is how you go from your favorites to your chart, or vice versa, right? Okay, any questions on this? The last thing that I want to talk about here, and this is the reason that I use TC2000. Let's just, this is going to be the end all be all for me of what determines whether I use the product, because this is what helps me make money. I'm going to, one of the questions, one of the most common questions I get about volume profile is what time frame should I look at? And the answer to that is time frame doesn't even matter. What matters is where the people are that you're trading against. And so if I'm looking at the cues and I'm like, hey, you know what's happened? Well, the only thing that's really happened in the cues is we've traded in this range for a while, right? Let me scoot it up a little bit. So basically, we've just been chopping sideways for a while, right? We've been trading in this box for a while. So we had this gap up. I don't even know why we had this gap up, but I would guess NVIDIA earnings was probably that gap up. I don't remember. But, if I were to throw in an anchored VWAP from right there, these are the people that I want to kind of play against. So the reason that I use TC1000, and the main reason, is because it gives me the greatest detail on VP. As I maximize this and I want to go in and look back at all these people, right? This is going to give me the greatest detail. And so I zoom in as close as I can on the time frame, whether I can get to 15 minutes, 30 minutes. If I could get to a 1 minute chart and look at all this, I would. But as soon as I go down to a 5 minute chart, it's going to take all these people out, and I'm going to have to go back to the 10-minute chart, right? So I don't have all the people that I want to look at. So now I got to go back to a 10-minute chart, and I'm going to maximize this, and this is going to give me what I want to see. Now, what I want to see is between this candle here. So if I select it and hold it down and drag with my mouse, and then hit the space bar where I want to get to, like right here. If I hit the space bar right here, it's going to give me some options. And one of those options is zoom to selected region. That's what I want to do. And now I've got a great setup on the VP. I've got a 25-cent spread that I can go in here and I can start looking at. The other thing that you need to do, I'm going to shrink this back down so it's easier for you to see, on TC2000 is on the right-hand side right here. If you right-click, you'll see something that says scale type. You want this to be a RIF. You want grid line spacing as far to the left as possible. So the only thing you want selected is a RIF and grid line spacing. Now, you can change that grid line spacing if you have a wheel mouse. Literally, if you just scroll it up and down, it'll do that, right? But you want it to be as tight as possible because that's what gives you the greatest detail. So now, looking at the cues from where we zoomed into, where am I going to start getting nervous that we're breaking down, right? Should I be nervous that we're breaking down yet? No, I don't think so. We haven't. We're just chopping around, and dips are continually getting bought up. If this holds, we're fine. We start breaking below that, yeah, I might start questioning if we're going down to the next level. Well, where's the point of control? Well, obviously, here, let's just make a big area as the point of control here. These two lines right here are your point of control. Right, so I'm just going to say this big area for me is what I need to know is the point of control. So I'm going to make them thick. Just right click on them, hit edit, come in and do this. And then I'm going to put in value area low, value area high. right? According to this range. And this gives me details so that I can find support and resistance, right? Now I'm just going to bring this back to undo zoom to right where we are. Now let's look. Look at today. What's happened? Only thing that happened is we went from above point of control to just below it. And what you'll hear a lot about volume profile is you will go up and down around point of control and you'll get pulled back to it, which has happened how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, 20 times now? Well, eventually we're going to break out of this zone and go up and or go down. And I need to know when that's going to happen, and the price action will tell me that, right? Okay. If you want to zoom into a specific time frame also that's a little bit further back, you can do that. So like if I wanted to say, today we zoomed down to here. I mean, we're down here, but what if I wanted to just look at, April 8th, 9th? Same thing. You just click on it. And then you zoom into this area. And you'll see that area. And now look, that's your main point of control for the last couple days, 440, right? Anyway, okay, that's the volume profile side of it. Now,